Hey everybody, Richard News here with Weichert Realtors, the Space Place. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to the Real Estate Rundown. I've got Brandon Snyder live with me tonight. We're going to be talking a bit about mortgages, and I'm already getting text messages. Chris Cotton, I hope you're on here. I'm already getting text message from him saying we're 2 minutes late. So we apologize for being 2 minutes late.
Blame me.
That's
Sorry,
right.
man.
We got Joey Pinnell, Deborah Monty, Susan Black, Ethan Ponder, my wife Catherine East, Chase Rutherford, Jody Cohn, Nick Lavoie, Beth Beigel, Chris Cotton. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, please share, please comment. The Real Estate Rundown is a way for us to help good people get to a better place. What we want to do is we want to give you the information that you need to become a better buyer, a better seller. If you're a real estate junkie, investor, whatever the case might be, we want to give you the information to make you successful. So we bring on experts like Brandon Snyder with Willow Bend Mortgage. Brandon, we appreciate you coming on. For some of the folks that might not know you, it's been a while since you've been on. I know you've done the radio show recently, but as far as the nighttime show, let them know who you are, how long you've been doing what you're doing, and what you do.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Brandon Snyder. I'm with Willow Bend Mortgage here in Coleman, and I'm the regional manager there, and been in the business for 15 years, longer than that one to admit sometimes.
That's
but,
all right.
Yeah, no,
lots of experience.
That's right.
Experience.
Just no gray hairs yet. A little less hair.
I've already got a few of them, so you're doing a lot better than me. I've got a few right here from 3 years in real estate. So.
But yeah, I've been doing it a long time, and got a great team, and we kick butt, take names. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've been in a couple different places. Didn't you start out down in Tuscaloosa? And
yeah, I started with a firm that was based out of Tuscaloosa many moons ago when I first started my career. And yeah, so I was with there for like 8 or 9 years and learned a lot under the leadership of that guy. So yeah, it's been awesome though.
That's great. You know, you said 15 years. That means that you've seen good and you've seen bad in the mortgage industry. So it's nice to have the perspective that we're definitely in a good time still. Is that right?
There's no question. Yeah, I mean, you know, the rates were 6.5%, 7% when I first got in the business, and you know, you think they've been so low so long, and especially as long as you've been in the business, they've been low. I mean, historically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah.
Crystal's already giving you a hard time. I saw a gray hair on you the other day at a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet you did.
There's no question that. You probably caused that.
David Shoemaker, Charles Clemens, Teresa Gill, Tommy Jones, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, please share. The information that we put out today may help somebody get into a home. It may be that one thing that they're needing to get to a better place. So please share. And if you have any questions for me, for Brandon, for Dominic, Dominic's over there running the board, making sure everything's smooth. He's the reason we're 2 minutes late, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and throw him under the bus on that one.
This is
Yeah,
true.
you can throw me on the.
We obviously got a lot
good,
of programs.
Dominic?
Yeah, we
is it
just
back
got
up?
it back up now. For some reason, the other phone just. So I'm going to be coming live. So
you're going to hold it the whole time.
Yeah,
all right, well, that's great.
Time.
That's great.
We're a real champion here.
All right,
we get the gimbal.
sorry.
So yeah.
So credit or down payment?
Credit or down payment, that's two probably biggest obstacles a first-time home buyer is going to have for sure. And a lot of it is either lack of credit or just somebody really not taking care of their credit because they don't, you know, appreciate what that might afford them later. But yeah, we work with all of that, and we challenges all the time, and we can help them get through that. So.
Right. Dominic, do you have a video you can push to so you can get that stabilized? Or
yeah, let's do that. All right, we're back now. So,
did you take us out of the transition?
Yeah, we're out of transition. We're good.
Hey, Randy Wilson, how you doing,
What's
brother?
up,
We got
brother?
Tim Smith. Now, Tim is a realtor up in Nashville, and Tim actually he was just, I don't know if the correct term, but he's in the running for top 30 under 30 realtors in the United States. So
very
Tim,
cool.
I'm proud of you, brother. I'm glad you're doing it up there. I'm glad to call you a friend. Chris Piper, we appreciate you getting on here. Sandra Bachhold, Kim Smith. John Key, Amanda Schultz, thank you guys so much. So maybe we've got all the technical difficulties worked out.
So far, so good.
We appreciate you guys staying with us if you were on here before. If you're just tuning in, please like, please share, please comment. We've got Brandon Snyder with Willow Bend Mortgage talking about mortgages, talking about first-time homebuyer loans. We're going to be talking about government shutdowns. We're going to talk about 15 years in the industry. We got tons of stuff to talk about. We may even get into social media marketing. We were talking about that beforehand.
Yeah, for like an hour.
Tim, you're welcome, brother. So we were talking about the credit side.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to have a 650, 700, 750 score to get a loan.
Yeah, I mean, we have people that call us all the time in the upper 500s, 560, 570, that, we may not be able to help right
Sure.
that moment, but we can put them either on a plan that we can tell them, or we get them in touch with some credit experts that we work with that can help them through that next process.
And I've seen you guys do that. Actually, there's been a couple stories, couple deals that I've worked with you guys where it took us 6, 8, 9 months
Sure.
to get it done. The cool thing about that is that most of the time in the beginning that those people, they're really motivated. They want to make this happen. You chiming in some stuff there?
No.
the more there's perfect timing there. But as you're working through that process, in the beginning they're a little bit scared, but they want that house so badly. And as you work through, you get those credit updates every month, and it's encouraging. You see that build up. And the awesome part is when you have somebody at the closing table crying, or you have their kids crying because they're so excited about having a new room, a new house. That's really what it's about.
Absolutely.
So I mean, sometimes it takes 8 months. Sometimes I've had folks call you and they thought, "Man, I'm a year out," and they're ready to go right then because
Exactly.
they just didn't know.
They had no idea. Yeah.
And knowledge is a huge part of that. What about, we have a lot of folks around here that 18, 19, 20 years old that don't have credit. So how do we fix that so we can get them into a home? They may have great jobs. Maybe they've been working and like, I know we've had some folks from Chick-fil-A that have been working there 5 years and they're managing at 19, 20 years old. They've got a good income. So how do they get a house?
Yeah, so if you're out there and you have no credit whatsoever, you just have never actually opened that first kind of line of credit, first thing we would probably suggest is a secured or possibly even an unsecured credit card, and learning how to manage that extremely well. We never say getting credit card debt. Literally, you have to have an account open about 6 months.
Explain what a secured credit card is, because some people may not know.
So the difference, a typical credit card is unsecured. You get approved for a limit, you go and you go spend the money or pay it off or whatever. A secured credit card is
the money.
The money.
That's right.
Right. That's like your typical credit, but a secured credit is where you're taking $250 or $300 or $500 and putting that on deposit with that lending a bank or credit union who issues these things. And if you need suggestions, we can do that. But they then give you a credit limit against that your own money. So that's securing,
and that's why it's secure.
That line of credit.
They've already got it paid for up front. And this is, like he's saying, this is a great way to build credit. You got your wife just jumped on. Karis jumped on. We've got Ripley Fowler. Hey, Ripley, I've got a house coming up in Eva. I need to holler at you probably next week and see if you know of anybody that might be interested. Pretty good little place, a fixer-upper. Who else we got? Jamie West. We got Larissa Kleckler. We got another what?
Screen jump to the more you know. It's coming again.
Well, the more you know. I like it. We just keep chiming that. We're going to have to get the other iPad and get that link.
Yeah,
so we'll do that next time.
We'll figure that
That's
out.
fine. We got Tommy Davidson, the inspiration of the Real Estate Rundown,
yes,
GTT.
Sir. We're watching him earlier today.
All right.
We appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well. We got Ron Jr. on here. Thank you guys so much. All right, so we're talking about credit. So that builds up that credit, and you can. How many lines do you typically have to have on a government-backed loan? USDA, FHA.
Yeah, so USDA is a little more specific. I'll cover that in a second. But your typical FHA conventional, VA loans, they're going to require you to have at least 6 or 7 months just to even have a score.
Right.
And that's going to get you into that score mode. And typically, you come in if you pay that well and not abuse it, you'll come in probably the mid 600s. And,
sure.
And that's approvable if you have a good
job. We had a question from Nathan Haynes that says, do all banks have secure credit cards?
No, they don't. I don't want to say that blanket statement, but I'm going to assume not all banks have them.
There's only a couple that I've dealt with around here that have those. And that's...
We got a great list of the ones local to us that we can refer to if somebody needs that.
Right.
Some of them offer where they offer joint credit. Some of them pull credit. Some of them don't pull credit. So we've got all that stuff mapped out for you.
And that's the great part. If you call us, we can direct you to the right resource, the right person that can get your credit built. What about, I know Dominic's brother's in the car sales business.
Sure.
Is buying a car a great way to build up your credit?
It's okay. It doesn't work quite as quick as a
Just don't buy a car that
re-
costs as much as a house, right? You'll be all right.
exactly. Don't go
You're gonna have more problems.
$550 house,
Yeah,
car payment.
absolutely.
Well, you got a car, not a house. So, but no, an installment loan like a car loan would be takes a little longer sometimes to get you a score.
Sure.
But yeah, back to the USDA. You asked a great question because the USDA requires 2 trade lines that are reporting to your credit for over 12 months. Now, we do loans for people that don't have that all the time,
Right.
and we use what's called non-traditional credit references, and that would be like you've been paying rent, you've been paying your car insurance, maybe a cell phone bill.
Yeah.
Something that's in your name that we can verify that you paid for 12 months, we can use that.
I want to come back around to
Yeah.
that. We've got Jamie West ask about how about job time if you're still in the same type or industry.
Yeah, same type of industry, it's usually no problem whatsoever. As long as you don't have any job gaps, you're fine. We like to see 2 years of history working,
Yeah.
unless you're coming out of like I just graduated college or I just
Right.
got out of high school. Maybe there's a reason for a shorter.
So I'm going to throw a couple scenarios
yeah.
out. So if I'm a police officer and I go from being a police officer in Coleman and then we move to Hartselle and I'm a police officer there and then I go to Nashville. In Nashville, am I still going to be able to see that job history? That's not going to be an
Absolutely,
issue.
yeah, no problem.
All right, let's change that up a little bit. We've actually had this. I know the answer to this one. What if I'm a plumber and then I end up deciding to be self-employed, but it's still in the plumbing industry?
Yeah, doesn't work that way.
It
and
makes
it's
it a little
really
bit
not
tougher,
the
right?
job; it's the income type. That's the
Okay,
problem
it's
for you
that
there.
steady income,
it's
right.
I'm getting a paycheck W-2 versus now I'm self-employed and
1099.
1099.
That's right, yeah.
So it's the
Change-
income
yeah.
type. It's not the job.
And that's not guaranteed at that
Yeah.
point. You've got your own. I got
And I've
you.
seen people like a good is that we see truck drivers all the time. There are truck drivers that they're employed W-2, they get paid by the load. Then they go self-employed for a little while, and
I've
then they
seen
go
that as well. That's a
back
great
and they're
point.
paid by the hour. All that's legit. So
Right.
if you stay in the same industry and you got a
It's usually
verifiable
pretty
income,
safe.
you're good.
So hopefully that answered your question, Jamie.
Yeah.
We've got Caitlin Jones that jumped on here. Thank you, Alex Voss, Megan Hollingsworth, Wade Harbison, Ray Regner, KC Pickett. Tons of folks. Thank you guys so much for getting on here. We want to help good people get to a better place. Please share, please like, and please comment. If you share this and somebody watches it later on, this may help them get a new home. We want to help as many people as we can, so we appreciate all your support on that. All right, so we talked about credit a little bit, building up those credit lines. One thing I wanted to ask you about is folks that are living at home with mom and dad, you can actually show that you're paying rent, correct?
You can if they're actually paying it and you got canceled checks or some sort of proof of payment.
On the other
absolutely.
side of that, can you show that you're saving that amount that
You
would be
can.
considered
yeah,
rent?
consistent savings. Like if you're getting paid every 2 weeks and you're putting $50 every 2 weeks or $100 a month, and we show that accumulated savings over a period of time, it's absolutely a
Awesome.
reference. Yeah.
Awesome. So we talked about credit. The next thing is obviously down payment. Now, you work in several different states you can loan out, right?
Sure.
What states are they?
Well, Alabama right now and Tennessee.
Right.
So,
I knew you were in Tennessee as well. With that, I know that there's different areas, like with USDA, it's based off of a certain amount of a population, correct?
right. There are some markets in your state that's not going to be eligible. There are more areas that are eligible than are not
Right, yeah.
typically. But yeah, population density is one of them. Income for that.
So the importance of that is a USDA loan. What's the biggest benefit of a USDA loan?
Yeah, biggest benefit is no down payment requirement.
Right.
So you can do 100% of the purchase price on the USDA loan.
And what's the logic behind that? I know with the VA loan, obviously that's a benefit for veterans that have served.
Sure.
But what's the USDA? Why do we do that?
So the USDA's got the household income limit, so it's income driven too. So you have to meet that requirement. But the benefit is it allows people to get into a home ownership with less money out
Yeah,
of
and
pocket.
it's also, I guess what I was trying to pull out of
Sorry,
you, it's also another way for to disperse population. That's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the reasons
No,
they're
absolutely.
doing that. They want to encourage people to live outside of those metropolitan areas, and so that's why they say
Encourages rural development.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
And that's one of the
essentially-
reasons why
yeah,
they do
sorry,
that.
I wasn't picking up what you're laying
That's,
down there.
that's all right. That's all right. Nobody
throwing
knows.
softball,
I
I
speak
wouldn't-
my own language
Funny
sometimes.
thing on that, my brother-in-law, Louisiana, they don't call it USDA loans.
Call it R&D?
R&D. So I was like, y'all have USDA loans over here.
like, no, we got
And he's
R&D.
like, what, like the steaks?
Nice.
I was like-
So and it's not R&D like research and development. It's
Yeah, no.
RD, which is rural development.
Rural development,
And people call that around here too. It's just a
Right,
different
right.
terminology.
Yeah.
We got Richard Bailey that jumped on here. Like I said, Molly Atkins, Lou Tucker. Thank you guys so much for getting on. Please like, please share, please comment. So with USDA, we also have some other loan types where you can have a low down payment. What are some programs that might be beneficial to buyers in the North Alabama area?
Yeah, so another program that's really popular is FHA. Only requires 3.5% down. You got conventional Fannie Mae home style loans that only require 3% down. We also got the Step Up program, which is like a down payment assistance loan, where if you qualify again, which that net winds up.
It
is state specific.
Pacific.
It is for Alabama.
It's state Pacific.
And that's for if you're trying to get an FHA loan that requires 3.5%, maybe you make too much money for USDA.
Right.
But you don't have the 3.5%, you could borrow 3% of that money as a small second mortgage, and you only have to pay like 0.5% down. So.
And then that pays off in so many years.
Yeah, like 10 years, or you can pay off early, sure.
Yeah. And that really helps if you don't have that savings, and that's really what you're looking at. If you're trying to move from renting to owning, that's another way that you can do that. We got Luke Browning on here, Dustin Hembry, Kim Riley. Thank you guys so much for getting on. Please like, please share, please comment. All right, so we talked about two big obstacles. I was talking to Dominic today. I'll tell you one thing that scares me. I know it sounds funny, but when I got into looking at buying houses, I was really concerned about how much paperwork I was going to have and where I was going to find that. And I know you guys do a great job of walking people through that process.
Sure.
But let's just say you made a quick list of the things that people would need when they called you or when they came to see you. What are the big items?
The big things. Yeah. It's going to be your pay stubs for the last 30 days typically. Your bank statements for at least a month or two, and your tax returns for the last couple of years, and W-2s.
And that's going to be the easiest way. Now, and that's for W-2 folks. If it's 1099, what's the difference in that?
If you're 1099, you actually definitely want to typically have 2 years tax returns as a self-employed person.
In that industry.
In that industry.
Not
going from plumbing to truck driving, or some of the reference we did earlier. But yeah.
Okay, and that's pretty simple stuff. But I guess when I started thinking about 3 or 4 bank accounts, I was thinking I was going to have a year's worth of bank statements, and this, and this. And it was, and so my point on that is it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is to call and find out. That's the easiest thing.
Yeah, and we got some pretty new technology too that allows people to even link up their bank accounts through the application process, and we can get in some of their transaction history.
Dominic, were you talking about that earlier?
So.
You linking up into people's bank accounts? Isn't that what you're talking about?
I'm trying to remember.
Okay, never mind.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah,
no problem. Well, Brandon, I think we've covered some big topics. Is there anything that you want to tell the folks about what you see in the future of the next 3 months as far as interest rates go, or what you see as far as the market goes? Just really anything we can fill for a second.
I mean, if you've been on the fence for a long time thinking about buying, the last 2 or 3 months, the rates have dropped, pretty considerably. And, the most predictions of 2019 have that going a little bit higher. Just if the job growth keeps happening, that's just going to happen. So, if you're thinking about buying in 2019, at least have a conversation with somebody like Richard or myself or someone that you trust, and allow them to help you through that process. And so you know what you're ready to do.
And something I heard yesterday, it was a good quote, and I've said this morning, was that always remember that interest payment on rent 100%.
100% interest.
That's right.
It's 100% exactly interest on rent payment.
So the way I try and frame it to folks when they're scared to make that first phone call is, if you could make one phone call that could change your life and the life of your family and your children, would you make that phone call? Well, that phone call is an easy one to me or Brandon, so we can set you up to see how we can get you into a new home, how we can get you out of the rent cycle, how you can start building that legacy in your family. So please make the call. Who are they going to call, Brandon? And Brandon, it's not going to be Ghostbusters.
It's not going to be Ghostbusters. Yeah, call us at 256-734-6012 or text me on my cell, 256-694-7514.
And they can find you on a website, an app, on Instagram,
Man,
on Facebook.
we got SnyderMortgageTeam.com. We got apps. We got Instagram.
We got
Twitter.
all that stuff. So
if you look up Brandon Snyder, you're going to find me. I promise you
that.
That's
right. That's right. Well, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. Please share. Please comment. If you guys have somebody that you want to come on, if you have a topic you want discussed, you can always inbox us. You can put the question on here, and we'll make sure we address it. We hope you guys have a great night.